Okay, great. Okay, now it's better. Yeah, thanks for having me here. I'm Beki Osmani. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bottneuro. We are a startup from the University of Basel, working on precision medicine for brain health. We were just selected as one of the top 100 Swiss startups just like 2 weeks ago at in Lausanne. What we are doing is basically we are developing a kind of a personalized wearable for brain recording and stimulation. So like I think many people have tried that to do. And I can say that basically we are the very first one who got it registered as a medical device to be used in patients at home. We are focusing on a similar problem. I mean, the reason is very clear. So I think dementia or AD is going to be the next pandemic, because also like right now, every third adult is dying with dementia, but we have around 11,000 new patients every day, and this number is just for Europe and US. And as the population is aging, so like this number is increasing, and there is still no treatment out there. So like our solution is a multifocal electrical stimulation therapy, very similar to the brain stimulation for Parkinson, but it's non-invasive. So like it's fully personalized. So like you can do this at home. So like I don't have a pointer. And the therapy is based on MRI data. So like we start with an MRI, and then by that we can make sure we can deliver a precise stimulation of specific brain regions. So like it's more or less what Neuralink is doing, but non-invasively. And as I said, this is designed for home use. As a therapist, this is how the device looks like. Has to be repeated. So like what they do right now is like 1 hour stimulation a day in a home setting. How does it work? So like it's very simple. I like to say it like that. We just need an MRI data set. And from the MRI data set, basically we design the cap, we design the therapy, and then we send it back to the clinic where the patient picks it up. Usually they do the very first session in the clinic, and then they continue at home with the therapy. So like we have the device is already registered with Swissmedic, MHRA, and also EUDAMED. So like it can be used in patients. So like we have also started treating first patients in Switzerland. What is the secret sauce? So like what we have done is basically it's like we started an MRI, so like there on the left. Based on the MRI, we build a 3D model of the brain. We call it a digital twin of the brain. In that model, basically, we calculate the electrode positions here in red and green, so we can make sure the regions which are affected by the disease are being stimulated. And at the end, we merge this information into a STL file, which is on 3D printed. So like every patient has its own cap. And that has also advantages, because if you have to repeat the therapy at home, so like you just put it on and you have immediate contact everywhere. So like it's very convenient. And it's also designed in a way that old people can use the tablet. So like, I mean, we have patients right now doing the therapy who never had a tablet in their hands, and they manage to do it by themselves. So like it's really cool. But what is basically, why are we doing all this? I mean, it looks very complicated. I mean, it's a fully automated software pipeline we have developed. But the thing is, what we get out of this is you can see here the personalized solution. So you can have a high intensity and high focality and still non-invasive. This basically has not been done so far, especially as a medical device. The problem is, when you can see here on the left, so like the conventional, maybe the 2 electrode stimulation, basically you stimulate the whole brain. So like, and there is another that was like 6 years ago, the high definition approach. There you have a high focality, but the intensity is really low. So like you cannot really stimulate or come into regions where the electrical field is relevant to biological activity. The second USP is, and I think this is even more important, is when you look at patient 1, 2, 3, and 4, they are just all different. They have also different skull thicknesses. That leads to basically to a different dosage for, let's say, for patient 1. Here, when we just apply, let's say, 2 milliamps on these electrodes, you can see patient 1 gets a different stimulation or different dosage as patient 2 or as patient 4. And what we can make sure with our therapy is basically that we can deliver the same therapy to everybody. So like it's not only the electrode positions and the form, it's also the current which is personalized. So like, and that's very great. So like because then we have really consistent data. So like it's not because there have been a lot of trials, but the problem was always some people responded to a therapy and some not, and it always, to my opinion, it was because the therapy was not personalized, meaning not everybody got the same dosage. Yeah. Why AD? Why dementia? There are a lot of promising results from clinical studies. I have to say here, we haven't invented electrical stimulation, and it's being done in the clinics since years, also for depression. But what we have solved here is to develop a device which can be used in a home setting, especially, and also registered as a medical device for treatment. There are a lot of studies showing the impact on the pathological progression, especially when we stimulate with AC. We call it 40 Hertz stimulation. We are not the only one working on this. There is also an MIT startup working on this. They have raised 130 million. We are still on the Swiss side. But what they are doing is like they're doing visual and auditory stimulation. What we do is basically we directly can stimulate the visual cortex or auditory cortex or any region in the brain. And the results are really promising. So like it's not only you get an impact on the biological, basically, side, on the pathological progression, but also on the clinical side. So like patients have, like an improved working memory, higher attention, or just a better orientation. Here, this is too complicated, but I want just to tell you basically that what we do is in AD patients, so like I don't have here a pointer, in AD patients, so like this 40 Hertz or gamma rhythm alterations, we call it, this is disturbed. So like compared to healthy patients, so like this is reduced. And this is as a result of the inhibitory interneurons, basically, which are not so active anymore. And that leads to an overexcitation of the rest of the neurons, meaning they are just firing all the time. And this leads to a calcium overload and at the end to a cellular death and basically a brain atrophy. And this is basically a paper from our scientific advisor, which is in review now, is Professor Santaneci from the Harvard Medical School. He is also like very active in the field. On the competition landscape, there are not so many solutions available right now. So like commercially available, for sure, a lot of things are going on the research side. But here what we have, maybe you have heard about this lecanemab. This was recently approved by the FDA, but not by the EMA here in Europe. So like it's a very expensive, like it's an anti-amyloid, like amyloid clearance therapy, which costs around 82,000 per year, including all the IV injections and the MRIs. The thing is here, it was not approved in Europe because of the severe side effects. So like 15 to 20% of the participants got brain swelling, brain bleeding. And it's interesting that we have also now patients who have tried this therapy and they are using now our device. So we are offering this therapy at 3,900 per month. So like it's a subscription model. And we are a B2B2C, so like we don't sell it directly to patients. So like it has to be prescribed by a medical doctor. You cannot just buy it off the shelf. It's not a consumer product. And we are basically working with private clinics in Switzerland. And for that, we have started a so-called priority access program for early adopters. So we offer the devices for free for 100 patients to collect clinical data. And right now, this is happening only in Switzerland. Next year, we also want to expand to UK and Europe because there we have also the regulatory approval. Why us? I mean, as I said, so like electrical stimulation is known. Yeah, I think we have a very strong team of. I mean, this is only part of the team of business, tech, and science. So like maybe to highlight, sometimes it's a negative thing, but I really like it. So like we are a team of 10 co-founders. For sure, I have the lead in the company because I was basically working also previous to founding the company as an assistant at the university. And but here, what maybe to highlight is Raphael Gutzmann. He is the head of neurosurgery. He was also basically together with Alois. We did this electrical stimulation experiments at the university. It was in 2019 to 2021. And Rolf Wildermuth is also a co-founder. He is the former CEO of Medtronic. As I mentioned already, Emiliano Santaneci from Harvard Medical School, or Christophe Michel from University of Geneva. So like we have a quite an extensive advisory board, so you can find them all on our website. What we have reached so far, so like we have raised 7 million. With this money, we have developed the device from scratch, like everything is Swiss-made, from the electronics to the app to the 3D printing. We have registered that as a medical device in UK, European Union, Switzerland. We have completed the first studies, like feasibility and safety, with the university hospital. In Basel, we have launched this priority access program. Now we are really treating first patients. And we have also established a partnership for upscaling with Samsung, HP, and Deadwheeler. Maybe for Samsung, a funny fact. So a fun fact is we were in the 5 biggest newspapers in Korea, so like about this collaboration. And right now we are just raising 2 million, so like to demonstrate the efficacy in patients, in 100 patients, through this priority access program. What we do is basically, so like we give the devices for free to test, and patients can select after 3 to 6 months if they want to continue with the therapy. But then they have to prescribe to a renting model. And once we have this data, we expect to have this data by mid of next year. Then we will scale it up or do the official market launch in Switzerland, UK, and European Union. I also like this is my last slide. So like, I also like to compare ourselves to Novocure. So like it's a very established company, non-invasive stimulation for brain cancer, FDA approved, already reimbursed by the insurance company. They have treated more than 30,000 patients last year and generated a revenue of about 500 million. So our device is very similar to that. What we want to do is basically we want to be, you know, the new therapy for dementia as Novocure is for brain cancer. And yeah, thanks for having me here and thanks for your attention. So like our headquarters is in Basel, so you're more than welcome to visit us. But we have also a subsidiary in San Francisco and also one in Germany.
Great.